Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of the Brett Allan Show, a pop culture podcast where we interview your favorite celebrities from film, television, comedy, and more, and other places that pop culture hangs out. Today on the show, we have a fantastic guest with us, director Adam Salky, and he has a brand new film coming out just in a couple days. The film is entitled Intrusion, and it is premiering on Netflix. It stars the amazingly talented Freida Pinto and another just fantastic surrounding cast. Adam, welcome into the show. It's great to have you here today.
Brett, thank you so much for having me. This was great.
Yes, well, I have been a fan of your work for a long time. So when the opportunity came along to interview you, I was like, absolutely, let's get him on the show.
Wow.
Yes, so this movie is spectacular. I have not had the chance to see it yet, but I've seen previews and other things like that. So I'm excited for it. Let's talk about the film without giving any spoilers away about what this film is about and what people can expect when they have the opportunity to see it.
Of course. Intrusion is about an amazing married couple. He's an architect. She's a therapist and breast cancer survivor. And after she goes into remission, they decide to leave Boston behind and move to a small town to reconnect, start a new phase in their life. Once they land in this small town, their house is broken into twice in so many days. And the wife, Mira, played by Freida Pinto, starts to wonder why they moved to this town and who the people around her really are. The film is about the terrifying unknowability of people and how that blind spot with the people closest to you can be even scarier than cancer.
There you have it. We've solved all the problems of the world here in just the first few minutes of this conversation. I think right now people are just craving entertainment and really looking for an outlet and a resource to be entertained. And I think really when you make a movie, that's really the idea, right? When you're creating something like this, especially a thriller, I think the overarching idea is to put out good content, obviously, but also to entertain people. When you are creating films, when you're writing, directing, and producing, Adam, what are some of your motivations, or what are some of the things that drive you when you are creating something, specifically something like this that's getting ready to release here very soon?
Sure. I fully believe that movies should entertain. Everything that I've done, even though sometimes the subject matter has been a little challenging, I'm always looking for a way to make it accessible to the audience, because ultimately I think the thing that I'm most interested in my work is self-discovery.
Okay.
And I think that's something that is an important factor in everyone's life. It could be really a big thing, or it could be something really subtle that you realized about yourself. In this film, in an entertaining way, it's really actually a quite big thing, because Mira, the character that Freida plays, when we meet her, she is a traumatized victim, really. She's been traumatized by this illness that she's gone through, and then she gets traumatized pretty quickly in the film with this home invasion that happens. And she's going to go from there all the way to being an empowered survivor by the end. So it is entertaining along the way, and there's a lot of suspense and a lot of crazy things happen and a lot of secrets in this film, but it does end on this note of empowerment for her, which is something I'm excited for the audience to feel.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I appreciate about film, particular, and maybe it's just from a journalistic perspective, and because I watch a lot of movies and a lot of entertainment, and oftentimes, it sort of just melds together because, it's just the nature of the business. But one of the things that I always try and find in a film when I'm watching it, especially something like this, is the subtext and really kind of what the really bigger picture is. And I totally could see that being the case, as being empowerment and taking charge of situations and really just kind of being into control of what's happening. Do you find it challenging sometimes when you're directing a film or when you're presented with a project to really, I don't want to say become passionate about it, but really do it besides just because you're telling a story and you've been given a project to direct. Does that make any sense? Like, how do
Yeah,
you get
it's a great
motivated
question.
to like really sink your teeth into it and just make it something that is going to go above and beyond entertaining, and really we see your passion shine through the project?
Yeah, it's a great question. And it's actually a very simple answer in a way for me, which is that if I don't have a personal connection to the material on some level, then I'm not going to do it.
Okay.
So I've never found myself on set making something. I mean, it is really, really challenging to make a film. Sometimes it takes 10 years to write it and raise the money. I mean, you have to care about these things so deeply, and I do. So in the end, if I have a personal connection to the thing, then I'll do it. Directing television is a slightly different thing because that's someone else's world, that's someone else's storytelling world. And I actually feel like a professional director doesn't necessarily have to have a deep personal connection to the episode that they're directing. It can just be a passion about living in that story world for a certain period of time and helping that show creator tell a really great episode of that story. So as a director, you can have these personal experiences, and you can have experiences that are maybe someone else's personal thing, while still doing justice to it.
I love that answer. That's interesting because I have had the opportunity to work on some television.
Oh, cool.
You know, back in the day, I did some stand-in work and a few little things here and there.
Mm-hmm.
And I would remember like certain shows, they would bring in like major directors to direct like one episode of like an episodic, you know, In Plain Sight or Breaking Bad. You pick, you
Sure.
know, they bring in like this massive director. So essentially, from what I'm hearing, for something like that, it's more of like coming at it from a creative perspective and really kind of bringing their flavor to this small world versus a film where they might become more personally invested in the storytelling versus like, you know, this is just a 1 30-minute episode of a show. Is that kind of
Yeah.
I mean, not that they don't
Yeah.
care, but it's a
Yeah.
different
You do
like
care.
investment.
Yeah. It is different, and it's a wonderful thing. I mean, directors are artists and they're professionals.
Yeah.
So, you know, you can set foot on set of someone else's story and help them create a great version of that story. But for me, in the feature world, to me, the film has to have a reason for being for me.
Okay.
And for Intrusion, it really was two things. The first was that just on a very broad level, I love thrillers. I grew up on thrillers. I've always drawn to that genre, something about a story that really just captures your imagination, intrigues you, and holds you in suspense through the whole time, to me is, and create intriguing questions along the way, is something that really inspires me. So, you know, Seven, Silence of the Lambs, which isn't even really a thriller. It kind of transcends that genre.
Yeah.
Black Swan. I mean, these are films that I just I love that experience of being grabbed by the shirt collar and held on the edge of your seat. The second thing is actually the personal thing. So when I read the script written by Chris Sparling, one of the things that I thought was so great about it, aside from having that really suspenseful quality to it of not knowing where it was going or what was going to happen, was that the journey of Freida's character as someone who was in remission from breast cancer and works through that trauma through this journey of the film, through the story, actually was, I thought, reminded me of one of my best friends from growing up who was diagnosed with breast cancer at the same age as the Mira character. And I saw her go through this journey over many years of what that illness, you know, how it affected her psychologically, and then how she grappled with it and went through treatment and came out the end, this actually really incredibly mature, much stronger person. And when I read the script, I just thought, my God, this is my friend's journey. And so that was the thing, that was the personal thing that drew me to make this film, even though a story that is supposed to be something that, you know, really entertains you as it goes along.
Yeah, I find it extremely fascinating. It's just fantastic how you can come and attack a project like this and really just make it something special and amazing. One last thing here as we wrap up, I want to switch gears because I know when you're not working behind the camera, You are passionate about teaching the next generation of
True.
filmmakers, and you continue to run the directing discipline at the American Film Institute Conservatory.
Yes.
And you've also been an advisor at the Sundance Labs. Let's talk about that part of it and what your passion is and your goal is to give back to the community.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very passionate about teaching the next generation of storytellers. They, you know, the thing that really is the kind of that's really behind that is my interest in training aspiring professionals.
Okay.
So the people who are coming to the programs where I've taught and where I teach now, to me, that's what it's all about. It's taking them, building them from the ground up as someone who probably has a very interesting and unique point of view because of who they are. And then giving them all of the tools and the directing craft to be able to set foot on, for example, a television set where there's 150 crew members and actors and big equipment and all this stuff, and be able to say, you know what, I have the tools to be able to handle that. And it really is an incredible thing, and something that I really, really love to see. You know, it's a new school year now. I mean, the students that come in when they come in to begin, they're unpolished, you know, and by the time they leave, they're so confident, and you get to see these young artists grow. They're from all over the world. They're incredibly diverse, approximately 50% male, female. And it's an honor to be able to teach them. And then they also teach me things too, because you just meet these people from all over the world and with these incredibly fascinating points of view. And it's just teaching has been a wonderful thing that I've done in between projects.
Yes. Untainted from Hollywood, you know,
it's in Hollywood. The school is in Hollywood, but it's a little bubble. It's a little safe place away from it,
where they can actually feel creative and not, I mean, I don't know. I digress a little bit, but I get what you're saying. It's an opportunity for you to pour into these folks and really get them prepared for the big show, so to speak, or whatever they wind up doing.
Yeah.
And I think it's great that, especially when filmmakers, directors, writers get a chance to pour back into the folks who want to be where you are. Exactly. Right. I mean, they all want to direct the next Netflix thriller or whatever project it is. I think it's just so special and fascinating, the world that you're a part of, and that you actually take the time to go back and really just work with these students and really get them prepared. Well, I'm excited for this film. It is dropping here in just a few days on Netflix. If you don't have a Netflix subscription, that's a weird thing to say. It's like $9 a month.
Who doesn't have a Netflix?
Who does not?
Go out and get one.
You have a 30
for this
days,
movie.
Yeah, yes. Especially now, we still have time on our hands. The film is Intrusion, starring the talented Freida Pinto, and you know, another fantastic surrounding guest. Celebrities. I mean, the film is going to be amazing. I'm excited to check it out. Adam Salky, thank you for joining us today.
Brett.
On the
really
podcast.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.